This is a warning. This episode contains mature themes, including violence, body horror, and death. Viewer discretion is advised.
No pressure.
Outside of time, inside their own minds, the Cabal changed the time ship into a car, driving that car towards the year 1692 in hopes of upsetting the Salem witch trials. The fools found themselves overturned as a red lash of energy wrapped around the rear left tire and flipped that Jeep upside down. Staggering out as a single body with 5 different personalities, including your companion, Rex, standing before you, controlling that red lash of power, is a member of your group. But that's impossible because you are Ermengarde Ward. Standing in front of you is also Ermengarde Ward, her hair pulled up into a bun, very sensibly dressed, with a severe look upon her face. So it's like you're looking at yourself. And she says, "I order you to stop." Behind, a shifting Hydra changes from 5 heads into 4 as she manifests completely in front of you.
Ethyl, is there another one of you?
I know, it's the oddest sort of deja vu I think I've ever experienced. Does she have my voice?
She does have
Ethyl?
your vocal cords, but she doesn't have your inflection.
Does she sound more like my grandmother?
You took pains not to speak at length with your grandmother, but she would often summon you into the tea room to have long discussions about philosophy, and you often didn't agree with her point of view, but had to silently abide in that room. Her voice doesn't sound exactly like your grandmother's, because your grandmother had a sort of slow way of speaking. But now, with this deliberate urgency, you would say it does sound sort of like your grandmother, if she was driven, perhaps.
Can we use Hannah's life site to see is this 1 life form, 2 life forms, 5 life forms? And is there any way to see like if that Ermengarde is the same as the Ermengarde that is part of us?
Yeah. So that first part sounds like a life spell. And when you say part of you, do you mean in which arcanum way? Spiritually? Temporally? Are they from different timelines? You could check whether they are fated to have the same destiny. You could check whether they have the same mind.
I'm pretty sure they don't have the same mind. Maybe destiny? That might be interesting.
So why don't you roll the life check? And Trevor, why don't you roll a fate gnosis?
Can I cast Word of the Unmaking and unmake the whip that has us restrained?
All right, so you're going to start combat, and yes, you can try to do that.
That was fast.
So, with 4 successes, you can tell that the fates of these 2 Ermengarde wards are diametrically opposed, and neither may live while the other survives. With the life spell, you see something curious. There is a life form that is almost as if it is 5 into 1, just as you are 5 into 1. But it's really only 4 and some sort of fetid black stain. It's like there's something dead there. And if you wanted, how many successes did you get on that roll?
4.
You could peer deeper and look back into that thing. Do you want to
Yes.
stare down into the dead spot? You see a skeletal hand holding Blanche Fleur's head. Her eyes are open, and she looks at you. You can see as well that there are other figures here. One of them, you start to shift your perception to them. They seem familiar. And then combat begins as the body begins to fight itself. Are you all allowing Mona to try to dissolve that whip?
I don't know. They did just say stop, and they were like us, so I would listen first. But that's just one vote in the hive mind.
Mona, you feel that inclination to stop. And at this point, you can try to persuade the body that you should do this, or leave the body and do it on your own.
I'll stay with the body. I think we're stronger together.
What do Parallax and Ethyl think? Should we
Yeah. What do you
hear
guys think?
Ethyl, other Ethyl out, or
Ethel wants the end of this Ethel. Ethel. It's not me.
I think we should ignore whatever the other Ethyl says and kill them. So,
oh man, all right, overruled.
Oh man,
Okay.
Rex
Can I add-
is also totally on the killing team, you should know.
Rex. Can I add 2 for speaking Atlantean?
In this space, your will is becoming personified. Instead of using that as a yantra, I'd like you to use a memory that is a time when Mona destroyed something with the Cabal.
I feel like I destroy everything I come across. I guess I'll think of the time when we destroyed our pact together, our solemn vow together.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent piece of history to use, and you get a +3 bonus for using that yantra.
I shouldn't be supporting this.
I rolled terribly. I only got 3 successes.
Well, you focus your will on that whip and it starts to break apart, almost pixelating in front of your eyes as you imagine breaking the faded bonds that had connected you before. This too is a chain wrapping around you, and you can see that it's still partially in place on the wheel of the overturned car, but it's been severed from the Ermengarde who is holding it.
Really?
Who
Okay, pedal
declares?
to the metal.
Huh?
We don't have to pedal to the metal. We don't have to be like, it doesn't matter that we're upside down. This is a ship. There's no.
Okay. I'm going to say that you can try that on your next action to immediately just like pedal to the metal. But at the moment, the person who you just attacked is using their action to attack you back. They, of course, do a little bit of monologuing. They yell, "Fools!" which gives them a -1 penalty. And they declare that you don't know what you're doing. History is on our side. If you do this, think of everything you'll destroy.
You've had this power for long enough, and this needs to happen because Parallax messed everything up.
I don't know if Parallax messed everything up. I think the world started going bad before Parallax entered.
Yeah, I'm getting all the blame for this. It's not me. It's clearly them.
You see this Ermengarde out thrust her hand, and she says, "To me, my sisters, we will undo these thieves." And then they cast death magic upon you. They want to sever one of you from the congregation. They roll 3 successes as well. And Mona, what is your resolve? 2. You find yourself ripped out of that collective being. Mona, you are held by some sort of death force, which you can feel disintegrating your body. They look over at you, holding Mona. And they are about to go into some more monologue. But before they do that, do you do anything else?
Yes. I cast Mega Fireball.
Is that going to be a forces spell or a prime spell?
Prime 5.
Okay. Yeah, like a celestial fireball. Are you trying to engulf all of them, or are you just burning this Ethyl here in front of you?
Ethyl. Sorry,
Okay.
Ethyl.
So that's going to be
Right, Ethel.
a celestial fireball, which sounds like it's prime plus gnosis. Can you think of another time when you used your magic to attack like this?
Yes. When I used water and I turned it into an ice pick through someone's heart. It's the opposite of fire. It's ice.
Fire and ice shoot out of your hands as you light them up with a prime plus gnosis +1. That memory wasn't entirely applicable. It was ice. The rest of the being, you are all in connection. And Rex says, it's destabilizing. We need to have all 5 of us.
Do we know how to reabsorb Mona?
You're witches. You can do anything if you think about it.
Okay. Oh, I could do it the gross life magic way. All right. I'm going to do it the gross life magic way. So we'll stick out our hand and grab Mona's hand, and where we connect, our flesh just merges like goo and start to just absorb Mona back in, kind of like the blob.
Yeah. It's going to be a life plus gnosis as Mona is shooting out these fireballs. You reach out a long hand. And can you remember another flesh bendy time that you can use as a yantra for this?
Oh, flesh bendy. I mean, I think the flesh manipulation. Oh, flesh way back in the beginning when we were going to rescue the man in the well. I stretched my arms out to rescue him and super stretch them out. So this is another similar stretching and pulling in to rescue.
Yeah, I think that's +3 since it is rescuing as well.
The Ethyl part of the being needs to remind the Hannah part that your skin flayed off too. It's still upsetting.
So there's just a super stretchy blobby hand, but some of the skin is just like falling off a little. Cool. So, oh, that is 2 successes.
So yeah, you start to like form around Mona, and you are in the process of reabsorbing Mona, but it didn't go super great yet. The next thing that happens to just Ermengarde, but you can all sort of sense that Ermengarde's physical bodies are being shaken back in the physical world.
Like physically, like shaken?
Like physically shaken by something.
There's no way to look back there through our like real eyes, are there?
You totally can. Looking back through your eyes, I'm going to say it's a trivial mind spell. You see Alora's panicked face shaking you.
Can I talk to her?
Yes, but it will take your action.
Okay. I want to either ask Alora what's happening, like what she's scared about. It might just be that we become a blob creature thing attached to whatever. Like, can she see everything that's going on?
She can see none of what's going on, and you can see through your eyes that you are now just standing, holding hands around that orb, around the Cosmographicum.
And no one else is in the room but us and Alora?
Well, unfortunately, yes, there is someone else in the room. Alora points. She just says, "Him," though you don't hear the words. And you see the tattooed man.
Oh no.
Standing
That's not who I thought.
in the room with your physical bodies.
No.
Behind him, there are shadows. In the dream space, the Hydra-like figure shifts and sort of reabsorbs that Ethyl Ermengarde. And you can see the heads of the snakes snapping and speaking with each other in some way. The Hydra seems at the moment to be conflicted.
Can we use mind magic on them to figure out who they are?
Yes, you could try to roll a mind. So it's going to be a 7-die pool for Rex. Can Rex think of a memory where he was looking at you incredulously? I guess he's going to think back to the time when you were all just in a classroom and saw a bunch of exploding cars, and he was like, "Oh man, all these people are crazy. Looking at people who are crazy," and he gets a +1 bonus. He's also going to spend a willpower because this seems like the time. So I guess that's 11 die. Do you want to roll for this one, Hannah?
I don't know if I have 11 dice. Rex got 1 success on 11 dice.
Well, you do see something familiar. As you try to look into and past this Hydra, the thing that you are looking for keeps shifting, like shedding snake skin. It's a nimbus that feels familiar.
It's not on our chart.
It's coming off the Hydra?
Yes, this Hydra seems to have some sort of shifting shield in place that's protecting them. There is a sense that you get of more than one mind at work inside the Hydra, but you can't see much more than that.
If Ethyl thinks back to her like grandmother's mansion, there's not snake stuff in it, is there? I don't like suddenly have a weird flashback. It's like, oh my god, there's snakes in all the teacups.
There are snakes on all the teacups. Always an Ouroboros eating its tail. In fact, you think that she liked to keep pet snakes, but she never let you back in that room.
It's like Professor Umbridge, but with snakes.
So I assume that's just Ethel's so slow. Her grandmother's nimbus then. Can I get Byron out?
Yes. So are you trying to brain link with Byron and bring him into this extra dimensional space with you?
I want to ask for consent from the group if we can let Byron join our body.
It would make it 5.
I mean, would it make it? Wouldn't it be 6 if Byron joined?
Yeah.
Would that be bad?
Are we technically
Or
7?
make it
Do we have
stronger?
both Ethels? Or do we have 6 right now? Do we have both Ethels?
Oh, do we have both apples in here, or
I
is it
think-
just?
We
You do have both Ethels in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
In fact, one of the Ethels could leave the circle without breaking it because there's a redundant Ethel.
That's good to know.
well, I say bring Byron on board. Go about it.
All right. Because of the complexity of this, you imagine the skull, but the skull isn't Byron himself. You'll have to draw him through with death magic, death gnosis.
Can I have like a Byron memory to help me?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'm gonna think about when we were back in our house with my room without the bed that I never realized could be so wonderful compared to now. And we are first sort of talking about my grandmother and him telling me about like the family's heretical secrets and that, you know, his sister killed him and yeah, like Byron first telling me about all the crazy things about my grandmother.
Yeah. And as this happens, you're kind of imagining it and roll with a +3 bonus to pull him through, but he's not resisting. With an exceptional success, you pull Byron through, and immediately, because of how well you succeeded on that spell, it changes the whole landscape. You can see now that you are on a ship. It's got big old masts. It's like a wooden ship in a storm, and there's a little rowboat tied with a red rope to the larger ship. In the storm, you see Byron standing there, but he's not a ghost. He looks like a man. And he looks at you, and he looks at the Hydra.
Hey, Byron. I know this isn't exactly the same as freeing you, which I know we talked about a while ago. But how's killing your sister sound?
He looks over at the beast and says, Eugenia! And there's a recognition immediately from the heads of the Hydra. They turn, and again, Ethyl, you see Ermengarde, your other Ermengarde, emerge from the Hydra and say, I don't use those names anymore. You may call me Hydra. I have earned this title as I have earned all of my titles. It's taken me a long time to build this, and none of you Not even you will take this from me.
Is the Hydra like the Nemean in that they are specific names for specific people / positions?
The Hydra is not a
Flashing.
title that you know of, but here's the thing. You do know of an NPC in this world named the Hydra.
Wasn't Trevor invited to do something with the Hydra at one point? I mean,
Got
Parallax.
invited to a few groups, but I never actually accepted anything from any of them. Let's see.
Unless this is the same Hydra that's on the council. That'd be nuts. Yeah, okay, so the Hydra, part of that adamantian arrow, who sent Mr. Face Tattoos to kill you. This could be the same Hydra or like a mirror of this Hydra. That'd be nuts. But it wouldn't be the first person who's multiple people that we've encountered.
Other Ermengarde looks angry, is going to try to destroy Byron. Down in the mortal world, the man raises up a big old axe and starts going in with that axe.
Wait,
Back
so if we could lose an Ethyl back to the mortal world and it would be okay? Because I have a redundant Ethyl.
You could lose one of the Ethyls back to the mortal world and still be tied into the machine.
Either one, Ethyl wants to vote which Ethyl is the redundant one.
The
Do
important
we
one
want to
is-
send out the weaker one? Do we want to send out the weaker one to try to slow him down but potentially not win? Or do you want to send out the stronger one?
We think weaker Ethyl could stop a mage with a giant axe.
I think weaker Ethyl could slow him down slightly. This is the guy who carried her out of the garden, right? Yeah.
Oh, so he already totally works for your grandmother. Great.
Perhaps we should send stronger Ethel out to confront him and have weaker Ethel stay here.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to release the older Ethel back into the Cosmographicum room. So you break out of that trance and turn to see the tattooed man wielding an axe, rushing towards, wouldn't you know it, Parallax. You also notice that behind him, there are Ethels. Well, Ermengardes. Lots of them. But they're all dead.
Oh, great. Can I make an Ermengarde army?
There is an Ermengarde army.
Can I
There
raise
are-
an Ermengarde army to do stuff?
Right now, it looks as though they are following the tattooed man's magic. You can see death magic, and it's pretty trivial for you to see that he has raised. He must be a fairly strong death mage because he has brought a bunch of zombies back to unlife. They're zombies of you, and you could fight him for control. Yeah, it is going to be an overreach spell to cast on all of these, and it is going to be opposed. Okay. Are you using any yantras?
Yes. Can I? The memory concept doesn't work now, right? I'm going back to more
That's
traditional yantras. I'm sorry,
Traditional
my cat
yantras.
attacking my computer. I will, if I have time to do the thing where I like take a little of the ashes I have, put them on my shovel, and then draw a symbol in the air with the shovel.
For +2.
Cheers. And what is it? Death Gnosis?
Death Gnosis +2.
Okay.
Actually, but there's a penalty because you're targeting so many creatures. One moment. Spellcasting, quick cast, advanced, scale, or ooh, it's -8.
Is there anything else I can do to try to balance that back?
You could slow down your spell casting, and essentially you would add more yantras.
Okay. 6 experience doesn't get me another Gnosis, does it?
It does.
Oh, well, I'll burn my last experiences to up my Gnosis one more.
I think it might even be 5.
Ooh,
So just +1 Gnosis right down.
okay. Cheers. I'll slow down a little bit to add high speech.
Okay. So that'll be another +2. And you start to cast this spell. It's going to take another extra 3 seconds. But things are happening very, very quickly. Inside the Cosmographicum, there is a battle being fought between the Ermengarde ward, that is the Hydra, and Byron, who seems to be using magic that a ghost couldn't normally use. Here, he can defend himself with his full range of spells that he remembers that he had. But you still have a Death Mage with you. Other Ermengarde can tell that Byron, while he can imagine himself to be stronger, here is actually not. He's still going to lose this battle just like he lost it so many years ago. And you can foresee him being pushed into the water and pushed under the waves with massive chains. He's here to relive his death. But in that time, it seems that other Ermengarde is distracted. On the outside, you got 4 successes, even with the -8. That's really good. And you
I rolled 2 zeros.
Oh wow. You connect with those Ethyls. The Ethyls look at you, you look at them, they're under your control.
This is so weird.
Inside the Cosmographicum, though, the remaining heads of the Hydra have turned towards the remaining members of the party, who have now just finally reabsorbed Mona. Mona, you're back inside the collective. You're all...
Great.
And there is a moment where, without Ermengarde Ward, you can see a little bit more of what's behind that monstrous Hydra body. Maintaining it like an illusion is a woman floating on a broom with green skin and a black hat. They seem to be holding the consciousnesses together. And the 5 that they are using, one of them is already dead. Some sort of reanimated, dead Blanche Floor. But there's another. A woman with red hair wearing a mask. She was at your trial where you swore that oath. Then there's another. And the red-haired woman has their hand with fingernails longer than should be possible dug into their shoulders. Their eyes rolled back in their head. It's Brother Finnegan.
What does it mean?
Wait, so they could separate us. Does that mean that we could separate them?
You could
Hold
certainly
on.
try.
Would that be
Get Brother
scary?
Finnegan back.
What kind of magic would that be? Spirit Prime?
You could definitely do it with death. Maybe with prime too, though. Or with mind.
Can we combine?
Yes.
I would like to
Combining.
combine my prime.
Okay. I think the lowest of those die pools is 7 die. Can you remember a memory of taking something apart or another memory that would apply to the situation?
Yeah. When I was taking my car apart and then I awakened. I did it to... Maybe I have a better example.
It's just that didn't involve the whole party. I will give you a +1 bonus for it, though.
Let me think of one with the whole party. Oh, when we took apart the Dark Knight's armor. We're like pulling it apart because it was hurting us. And
Yeah.
we didn't want it together.
Exactly so. I think that's good enough for a +3 bonus.
Am I adding
So
my
7 plus 3 for the yantra is 10.
Okay.
If you want to, you could also spend a willpower to get another +3.
Let's see how much willpower I have. I have, it's like 2 left. Sure. I will spend a willpower. Magic, magic. 4.
4 successes is very strong, but the bond between them is also strong. You cast out, and what does it look like as you are casting this spell from your shared body?
It looks like I want to say a wrench because I want to take them apart.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do a wrench, but like each side of the wrench are arms, so it looks like we want to hug him because we want him to. I want it to like gently pull him away because we like him.
Okay. That wrench is pulling, but the woman with the red hair, their arm is lengthening as this happens. And you can see that she is a living life mage who is going to roll to oppose you. And they do it. They get so many successes.
Dang.
The bond over Finnegan strengthens, and the hand kind of like envelops him, becoming part of his body. His eyes rolled in his head. He begins firing divine fire out at you. All of you take 2 points of lethal damage, except for the Ethyl, who is disconnected from the system. Because that Ethyl, back in the real world, is able to interpose themselves between Parallax and the tattooed man wielding an axe. What does the outside Ethyl do?
And the outside Ethyl command her Ethyl arm. It's so weird. Her army of dead Ethyls to try to restrain the tattooed man.
They can. So they're going to rush forward and try to restrain him, but it's an opposed roll. And
sorry.
And they don't roll that well. So they're like fumbling to get to him. He's a little bit confused that his own servants were attacking him, but then he sees that you're up.
Okay. Can I do another thing other than just command them? Can I try to decay his axe?
Yes. His axe looks like a normal like woodsman's axe. It's not a magic axe. And roll a death gnosis check.
If I speak in high speech and like tell it to rot,
+2.
can I help? Cool.
Whoa. The axe disintegrates, as do like the palms of his hands as he drops the axe. And he looks at you and says, "This has an end, as do all things," and reaches out to shoot you full of death magic. You should have just decayed him.
I don't know. I was overwhelmed.
It also would have been pretty evil to do. But as he's shooting this magic out, do you want to use...
Can I put up a... Sorry.
Yeah. It takes a point of mana to put up a magic shield reflexively. What kind of shield would you like to put up?
A death shield.
Okay. With your death 5, even though they roll an exceptional number of successes, that death shield goes up around you and you feel his death magic hitting you. You still take 3 points of lethal damage.
Oh god, this Ethyl's doing so bad, guys.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. It's actually aggravated damage.
I had aggravated damage though, so those then become lethal damage, right?
No. Paradox does not occur, but he was risking paradox as he did that. Back inside the dream space of the Cosmographicum. Parallax, what are you thinking to do?
So Mona is still detached from...
Nope, Mona's been reabsorbed.
Oh, she has? Okay. Well then. I'm actually thinking of doing something a little unorthodox in a room full of mages. But I'm tempted to just try to convince the Hydra body just to go up to the other Hydra and smack down, give a nice little punch or something, tackle.
So you want the Hydra to attack itself?
I was trying to do a physical attack. Would that even work, or is it I wasn't trying to make it attack itself. I was trying to talk about we're also our own little...
Oh yeah, you want to physically attack the Hydra body.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So you rush forward unless anyone from the collective is stopping you.
I mean, I could make us stronger first if you want.
Do that. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
All right, yeah.
Stronger.
I was gonna do something else, but I'll totally make us supreme honing first.
And I can make your punch have more force behind it.
Yeah, why don't you roll Forces Gnosis, a Life Gnosis, and I hear that, is this going to be a punch or a sword attack?
I mean, I do have a sword, but that transfer over, or is it is it a toothpick versus
You don't know.
I mean, you know what? No, just gonna be straight up punch.
Okay, so that's a brawl.
Yep.
Plus
That's 5.
brawl plus strength plus 5, and it's going to be dealing crazy amounts of physical damage because you're imagining it to be super powerful.
I rolled
I'm also
6.
gonna use a willpower here. So strength plus brawl plus 5. Okay. Yep. That's willpower.
Sounds like a big die pool.
Yeah, I'm only rolling 5 dice, so I can roll multiple times. But yeah, so far I had 5 successes and rolled 3 more dice. 6 successes with that punch.
All right,
Yeah.
the fusion of the 5 of you punches with all of your magical will into the belly of the Hydra, and it doesn't die, but it kind of explodes backwards, flying through the railing of the ship and into all these disparate snake parts. You can see that they have been thoroughly weakened, and the one that took that blow the strongest was the red-haired woman.
Ooh, now can I take Finnegan?
Yes, you can try to reach out and take Finnegan. It's going to be, let's say, a Forces Gnosis telekinesis check. But as Mona is doing that, one element of the Hydra, one head almost, that green-skinned figure in the black hat, reaches down towards you and casts a mind spell. And on that roll, they get past Rex's resolve. But Hannah, what is your resolve?
3.
That is exactly your resolve that they rolled. So, Hannah, you and you alone feel a message coming towards your brain.
From the Wicked Witch of the West.
From the Wicked Witch of the West. And the Wicked Witch of the West says into your brain, "I'm so sorry, my pretty. We should have had more time together. I had all the time in the world, but I could never spend it with you. And now, look at what you've become. A monster. Perhaps that's what we'll need. A monster to beat a monster."
Oh, no. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is.
You don't know who this is. Cut back to outside the body, where that man is trying to death magic Ermengarde, and all of these other Ermengardes are here.
Don't want to kill him. I really don't want to kill him, but it feels like killing him is the only choice. I wish I was still part of the body.
Well, you are a death mage, and while death is death, like just killing things, it's also a loss of energy. So if you wanted to, you don't have to kill him. You could just enervate his whole body down. And if you roll 10 successes like you just did, that'll do it. He'll just be down without being dead.
I feel like that's exceptionally lucky. I will. Oh, okay. Can I try to do that? And can I encourage the Ethyl army to try to do it too?
The Ethyl army doesn't have magic because they're zombies. But they will swarm over him, trying to pull him down for you.
All right. Thanks, Ethyl.
Okay, and they're rolling better on this now.
So I'll try to do the exact same thing as before.
Okay.
Not as good of a start.
Okay, yeah, so they're like beating on him, and his death magic is resisting some of it, and you are slamming into him, siphoning away parts of his soul, but he's still up. And he's going to try to death magic Ethyl one last time while he's still got a chance to do it.
Can I do the reflective shield again? Or is it still up from last time?
Still up from last time. And this time he rolls pretty good, but not nearly good enough to get past your shield. So he's like being pulled into this horde of Ethyls who are like throwing themselves on top of him.
How's Alora doing?
Alora has stepped back, is glad that she called someone for help, and is kind of just like looking on in horror at the horde of Ethyls throwing themselves upon this tattooed guy.
So she's super disappointed she didn't awaken now.
Oh, man. If you time ship on out of here, you're going to be taking an Alora who is just a sleepwalker and a tattooed guy who might want you dead with you. Love it. Love it. Inside the time ship controls, though, the rest of you have some more choices to make.
I rolled a 5 for
Ripping
my
Finnegan?
telekinetic.
Yeah. Okay. So that is just enough to break the physical hold on him, and he pulled towards you and like out of that grip of the creature for a moment. And he looks at you and says, "Oh God, you have to warn Chain. The Ebon Noose. They betrayed the Nemean. They've got my body." And at that point, a scythe whips through Finnegan's head, severing it. And that red-haired woman rises with snakes coming out from behind her as legs and ripples towards you, furious. Her eyes red beneath the mask as it distorts and changes into the head of a dragon, a black dragon, a red dragon, a white dragon, and a green dragon, and a blue dragon. 5. A Hydra all her own, screaming in breaths of acid. You feel through the link that you have with their mind right now, Hannah, that they are saying to the others, "I had to kill it, bring it back, our bond is breaking." And at that point, they lash out and try to restrain the group with many snake arms as they are burning you. They're in super mad mode, rolling a bunch of dice to hurt the party. Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. So those 10s don't all succeed, and at this point you feel yourselves battered by a magical force. You manage to put up some defenses against it, but everyone who's still bonded takes another 2 points of bashing damage to your physical bodies. As holding your hands in that circle, you just begin to like bleed as you're really interfacing with this machine, and the machine itself is like echoing a feedback to you.
Was that
Alright,
lethal?
tell
Because I
everyone.
think I'm down.
It was bashing, but you might still be down.
Okay, everything's full.
Okay, roll a resolve stamina check to stay conscious. Just one success is enough to stay conscious, but you can feel your body is like done with it. On the outside, your muscles are all sore. You've got a terrible headache. And it's taking all the strength you have just to be able to stay at the helm right now.
Okay.
So Hannah Brain is going to say that since Finnegan is down, their bond is loosening. They're getting close to dispersing them. If I do life magic in here, will it heal Mona's body?
Yes, you can heal your bodies on the outside.
Okay. Do I heal Mona or try and do something to end this Hydra? Because even though the Wicked Witch said those things, Hannah's whole deal is sometimes you have to destroy stuff to help other things be better.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
still do
don't
it.
worry about me.
So, do you want to communicate anything to the Wicked Witch as you are doing this?
Okay, so the thing that I want to do is call upon that spirit that is inside me, the spirit of unmaking and undoing, and ask it to unmake their bonds, basically, like unmake their connection. And I'm going to say, sometimes you have to burn something down to let other things grow, to let the right things grow.
Okay. And you're going to just open up with the spirit of unmaking that you have inside yourself? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we got a deal. It can unmake whatever I tell it to.
And I combine it with the word of unmaking.
Yes. So it's a 13 die pool for the Spirit of Unmaking. It's a pretty powerful spirit. And with the Word of Unmaking, that's a prime spell. Why don't you roll Prime Gnosis and add to that? Parallax, Ermengarde, are you doing anything?
I want to do the whole. I'm gonna hit him again. It seemed to work really well that first time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are just punching at the tendrils of the reforming Hydra. There's that dragon. You're punching dragons is how Parallax is going out.
Can younger Ermengarde also be shovel hitting dragons?
Yes, back to back. Your forms at once, two beings and one. You're kind of like merging and unmerging. The ultimate back-to-back fighting. So, Mona, you got 2, and Hannah, you got 4. And actually, would you roll 2 more dice for Mona helping you? Also, do you want to use any memories as a yantra in this case? Oh, wait, it's a spirit. I take it back.
I had a really good one though. When we first met, breathing fire to ward off the spirits. So this is like, I'm imagining blowing like black fire, which is the unmaking spirit.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Add a +2 bonus.
Okay. Oh, and another one, so that's 5.
So with 5 successes, you get an exceptional success with the Spirit of Unmaking. And what happens is you unmake their connection to this place because they were using a space and mind spell to connect to the Cosmic Graphicum, which is something that Elphaba, the Wicked Witch above you, was maintaining. The bond that they have is also responsible for that red whip-like thing around the lifeboat / time machine / car / time machine. And as they lose their connection with this place, so they kind of like phase out, this place kind of phases out, and the time ship, like a rubber band being pulled back, launches. There is a twist and shudder through your entire beings. Down in the physical world of the Ouroboros, the Ethyl and Alora down there are physically shaken as books fly from the shelves. It's abrupt launch. And as it's happening, you hear inside your mind one last thing whispered from that Wicked Witch. They say, "You'll have unmade our timeline, and you'll have unmade yourselves. You can't let the ship launch without you. It's the only thing keeping you alive, my daughter."
What? What? Oh no.
There's a twist and a lurch as all of the points of history between 2020 and 1692 no longer happen. They're just all gone. There are now infinite possibilities for the year 2020, but it won't work out like what had just happened because y'all undid it. You
that a good
all
thing?
history.
I mean, it'll still happen. It's just, it won't be the same
Maybe it'll be better.
or worse.
Oops.
Well, the
So
one
many
thing that
lives
will make it
lost.
different is now there will be a few time travelers back in 1692, and their actions might change everything. And yes, assuming that we move on and we do another season of Mages, you would be playing yourselves, I guess, because you all lived, but back in 1692. This is one of the timelines where no one left the time ship, but it was impossible to detect because this timeline couldn't/didn't exist in those timelines. You've changed everything.
Do both Ethyls make it or just the younger Ethyl?
Both Ethyls make it.
Wait, so is the other Hydra beings, are they also on the ship?
So they were not physically on the ship. They actually had a master of space and mind. One of those witches was projecting them into the Cosmic Graphicum, which is a power that maybe you'll be able to figure out how to do later on. But they had been intimately familiar with the mechanisms of the Cosmic Graphicum because it was their car. You just stole their car, man.
Well, they were doing weird stuff with it.
Well, spoilers. They were not the ones who were destroying the world. They just happened to have an omnipotent time card that they were using to hold on to power throughout the centuries. The time card became infected by an abyssal parallax from a timeline that shouldn't exist. Now,
None of those timelines exist.
okay, so here's the thing. You did delete the main timeline that you're all from, but the infection is still on board. Even though Parallax destroyed all the other Parallaxes who were trying to physically create that timeline, there's still a place that it exists. And that place is inside your own minds. So the Abyssal timeline was defeated, but not destroyed.
Like Voldemort.
Can we mind wipe it from our minds?
Rex cannot destroy it at Mind 3, but he can suppress your memories of it.
It sounds like a band-aid, or like a finger in a well.
Oh yeah, what was in the box?
The box is still with you.
Oh, wasn't the spirit thing something to do with that box?
Nope, the spirit of unmaking and the terrible thing that took over Mona's mind are different and, in a way, opposites.
Are you going to tell us all the answers now?
Okay, I'll tell you some of the answers.
Yay!
Who is my mom?
I almost want to leave this one as a spoiler for the next season, but I will go on and say that Cora actually had a lot of memories that you lost, including your family and who your family was.
Oh yeah, I had a family.
And just like the Leons and the Wards, they were also part of the time machine crew, part of the people who were controlling the time machine. And it was not an accident that the Nemean picked you to be their successor.
Yeah, I've not been interested in getting my memories back super much. I probably should have.
Oh, but you could totally go back in those memories if you got a strong enough mind mage.
Yeah, I totally will now that someone said that she's my mom. That's weird.
So, like, are we future people living in the past now?
Yes, You are now Doctor Who's. You're a crew of Doctor Who's on a time ship with crazy rules that you don't know all the rules yet, but they're cool.
What if we went back in the future? Would it just be like something random?
You don't know.
There is no future anymore. Or not yet. There's no future yet.
It's all a time snake, so there's got to be a future.
Yeah, because otherwise it couldn't feed back in on itself.
Right?
Well, you can definitely try to return to the present as the first thing that you do, or even return to the future when you get off in 1692.
That's
But
right.
if you need to refuel the ship, you'll have to go to the Fae to do it.
So what was in the box?
What's in the box? All right. Well, let me tell you that you were right to come to 1692, and there's another box in 1692. So this part of the mystery will continue.
Cool.
Was this the best option for us?
I mean, no, probably not. It's a pretty good ending, but I think that the best possible ending would have been connecting with Alphaba, who is a mind master, and trying to remove the timeline that shouldn't exist from your minds. Or finding another mind master like Kumiya who'd be able to help with something like that. And then purging the ship of anyone who knew about that timeline, and then politically opposing the Hydra.
I thought Alphaba died.
Well, Alphaba was a time traveler who was not on the time ship when it left.
So she no longer exists in the way that we remember.
So did she die?
I don't know.
It's all timey-wimey.
But if they've been in power since the Concordant, which might have happened in 1692, they could still be in 1692. They just don't know anything yet. I can't go up to someone in 1692 and say, hey, you're my mom. Or, hey, you will be my mom 300 something years from now. That's how you get burned.
I think it might be a witch. They said they were from the future.
Yeah, I've got to change my hair color.
But yeah, I think that before we cruise into a time traveler campaign, which I don't think it stays exclusively in 1692. I think 1692 is a few of the sessions. I hear that we might do another game as a cool group of friends. Also, World of Darkness. And it's secretly on Caity's board behind them because they are going to be the storyteller for this new game.
For a very short game, but I think it'll be fun.
Nice.
So we'll all make characters and do cool things. Everybody's character gets 3 experience points. We're not even doing beats. We concluded an arc. You did a bunch of cool stuff. You were infused with magical power. Gain 3 experience.
What?
Cool.
Did I save Boston, the town I love?
I mean,
Kind
so here's the thing. Boston does still exist in 1692. And it is still in danger, but it's no longer the town that you love. In fact, tragically, you unmade the town that you love. Maybe Boston in the
sorry.
future doesn't have any bars. Maybe Boston in the future doesn't have any libraries. Maybe Boston in the future is filled with space cars.
No
Or-
bars.
Maybe the streets run red with blood.
I probably lose a beat. I'm losing it.
No, that's not how. Okay.
Ooh, do I get an extra beat for doing one step towards remembering who I was and that I met someone who said that she was my mom?
Yes. And I think everybody, if you do not have an obsession that is based around the time machine, you might want to get an obsession based around the time machine.
Have we properly ended my family line?
Yes, you have. Well, are there wards back in the past?
We came on the Mayflower.
Then yeah. 1692.
To find more of them?
And these ones might not even know what's going on. You just got to find some randos and kill. No, I would say that you have definitely ended the family line that had done those terrible things to you. You haven't completely destroyed everybody in your family. And you could create a new future for the Ward family where they aren't terrible people.
Okay. So what do I get for achieving my obsession then?
A beat and kudos. And that's really impressive. You completed your obsession. You get a new obsession. Switch it out for something awesome.
So, like, can I still call Chain Paris to warn him about the Ebon news, or that just like doesn't even exist anymore?
Oh man. Well, you can not call Chain Paris because phones don't exist. Also, the past, we don't know if there is a Chain Paris. Unless Chain Paris is an immortal being, he doesn't exist probably. But there is an Ebon Noose in 1692 because they've got to sign the concordant.
Well, I'll tell them. Honestly, one of my obsessions is find out how things work. I think I am more confused. I think I'm going to lose another beat for this.
No, you don't lose beats. Command Z. Command Z.
Turns out there are consequences when you do Command Z. Central world.
What has happened to Byron now?
Byron is with you because you physically had his skull. So despite the fact that Byron's timeline doesn't exist anymore, and he was never born and also was never killed, he still exists as a ghost because he was on the time snake when it reset. When whatever is on the time snake, when time loops reset, does not reset. So that's how the Parallaxes were able to make so many copies of themselves.
Your fiance. I mean, your wife. Alora?
Yep, Alora's
Oh,
back
she's
in
there,
time.
yeah.
What a honeymoon. Come see 1692.
Maybe she can awaken here. The birthplace of witchcraft.
Modern Salem looked much more favorably upon witchcraft than historic Salem did.
Yeah.
the spirit of Salem will be much changed.
I had just rewritten my aspiration to befriend the old spirit of Salem, but maybe that's not a good idea. Okay.
Any last thoughts on this game? Any parting thoughts?
All my aspirations are people who don't exist.
Sad face.
Maybe this wasn't the win scenario.
Maybe we're halfway to winning. I did not expect that thing to happen.
It's been a wild ride.
Right. Well, new aspiration.
Oh,
Don't get burned at the stake. Now, Hannah's excited. Hannah still thinks, yes, this is how we're going to fix things. Because you have to destroy things to fix things, and now we're going to make it right.
I don't know. It just seems like way too much power.
It's a good thing none of us is power hungry.
I am obsessed about that. I will never change that off my sheet.
what do you think Parallax has taken away? Was this mission a success for Parallax?
Actually, in a sense, it wasn't exactly the way I wanted it to go down, but now my name is clear. I don't have that awful sort of history following me. So that worked out pretty well. Yeah. So yeah, the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's not so bad. I start a new life from here. It's perfect.
And, I planned that the whole time when I promised you all of that in return of your help.
I'm still so confused. Less, but still relatively confused. Also, I feel like it's worth noting, Ethyl has been a mage for what, like 3 weeks?
And a lifetime.
And a lifetime. Wowzers. What an introduction. She's also worried that pilgrims dress terribly. Or not pilgrims, but like Salem people dress terribly. And she's gonna have to dress that way too.
I can't wait to see the new outfits.
The brightest bodies.
Yeah, Rudy, you should tell them all about how, all those families, worked out the immortality thing.
Oh, okay. So they all did it in different ways because some of them were life mages and some of them were time mages, mind mages, etc. With the death mages, though, which was the wards, they had this thing where they were trying to awaken a person who was in a younger body, and they would just steal that body and use it, fill it up with their soul. And
Ethyl.
This originally was a thing that all of the male heirs of the line would do. But then the male heir of the line, Byron, was killed by his sister, Ethyl's grandmother, who essentially started doing it herself. She was like, works for you, it works for me now. The Leons were another family that was part of that, and they had people who saw prophecies. Blanchefleur was one of them. They were the Arcanthus branch, and that is now Parallax. He's a Leon. But the Leons were able to kind of see what was happening, but of course, like all prophecy, it was shrouded in mystery. And for that reason, Blanchefleur decided that it was better to know and change what was there. So Blanche kind of betrayed the rest of the group and helped push all of you into that destiny. There are some other factors involved in that, like why they didn't have an Obermos of their own and needed to kidnap Finnegan. But I don't want to get into all the details because it all does tie back in to 1692.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm sorry, it's a lot easier to break the world than I expected.
Well, you're around Gnosis 6 now, most of you. So that's pretty world breaky. Just wait till you get up to Gnosis 10. You'll be fighting essentially gods.
Weren't those people basically gods?
No, they
had
were
been
just
alive.
masters
the
and
beginning.
archmasters. They were just
Yeah.
really, really powerful mages.
Yeah, those were masters.
You're a master of Prime now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's your title. Anyone who has 5 dots in an arcanum is a master of that arcanum.
Wait. So I have 5 experience. I could add 1 more and become a master of life.
That sounds right. And that would make you all masters of at least 1 arcanum.
I'm pretty sure I can like build bodies now.
Yeah.
I'm actually very, very worried we're gonna get burned at the stake like every day. We're
That's
not.
okay. I can
subtle.
make the flames tickle. It's tickling charm. It's quite easy.
All right, let's pack it in there, and we'll be taking a couple weeks probably before another episode comes out. But when it does, it's going to be cool and different and cool.